And Lansing Mayor Virg Bernero, the Democratic candidate for governor, is on the other end of our line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Michael Patrick.
Thank you.
Some people would say we've been electing clowns for years here in the United States.
Yeah, now they're just making it out front and official, I guess, there in Brazil.
Some people, yeah, I'm not going to say who, because some people would probably say, in Lansing we've done it. Other people would say we've done it in Congress. But I think that there's an element of cynicism out there because people feel like the system isn't working for them anyway, that the system is so broken. And I think there's some sentiment of that here in this country and in this state.
Yeah.
We need to reform the system. We need to make the system work for regular people, not just the politicians and the lobbyists.
At the same time, with that cynicism, remember there was that in the Newt Gingrich era, there was throw the bums out, where they didn't want to hear from anybody who had anything to do with government anymore. But at the same time, we can't go around electing clowns, and we can't go around electing people who don't know how the system works. That's really one of your main points, isn't it, that separates you from Rick Snyder, your Republican opponent. After all, you're both pro-business, but you've got experience.
I think you're right. And you're right. I think experience does count for something. And he talks about reforming government, and he talks about bipartisanship, and he talks about balancing budgets. And it just so happens those are the things I've been doing here in Lansing as mayor. And, of course, we run on a nonpartisan ticket. I've worked with everybody, business and labor, Democrats and Republicans, to get the job done. And we've done it. We've balanced 5 budgets without raising taxes. We've diversified the economy while not abandoning our traditional strengths in automotive and manufacturing. We're, in fact, strengthening manufacturing when my opponent says we should walk away from it. But we've also diversified into high-tech, bioscience, IT, insurance. But we've grown advanced manufacturing every month this year. And you know that advanced manufacturing in this town and around the state, it's not. This is not your father's GM. The factories we have, the plants we have are advanced. They're competitive. They're as technologically advanced as any in the world. And so we certainly don't want to walk away from that. I think you saw, Michael Patrick, you reported on, we hosted the Chevy Volt in downtown Lansing.
Yep.
And the governor and other dignitaries test drove that vehicle. An incredible marvel of manufacturing prowess right here, made in Michigan, in Hamtramck. That's our future, the green cars of the future, the wind turbines, the green energy, the solar panels. All of those things need to be engineered. There's a lot of R&D. And then, of course, they can be manufactured, and they are being manufactured right here in Michigan. These wind turbines have 8,000 moving parts. Each of those parts can be made here in Michigan. Those are good jobs, and I'm unwilling to cede that ground to Mexico or to China. Outsourcing is one of the biggest problems of our economy, the outsourcing and offshoring of good jobs. And, I've been fighting that, and my opponent's been a part of it. It's how he made his millions, is by moving Gateway to China.
Speaking of the governor, we talked with her on Friday, and she said that you've got a tall order ahead of you in the last 4 weeks here to catch up in the polls and surpass Rick Snyder. But she said the main problem is that you don't have as much money as he does, and so you have trouble getting the word out. Is that fair?
Sure, that's fair. That's right. He's a multimillionaire. He can reach into his pocket, and he has. And spend unlimited, and he would rather do 30-second commercials, infomercials, than host debates, than have debates. In the past, there's been at least 3 gubernatorial debates. He only wants to do 1, which I find, perplexing. If, he claims to have a plan to help Michigan. Now, I think my plan is a lot better than his, my jobs plan. But he says he's got a 10-point plan that is the answer. If you had the answer, Michael Patrick, wouldn't you want to shout it from the highest mountain? Wouldn't you want to take every opportunity? His commercials don't talk about any of his plans. The RGA, the Republican governors, they've got a commercial where they say he's got a specific plan. Really? Let's hear it. I haven't heard plan 1. I mean, I've looked at his plan, and it's very vague. It says next to nothing. And I'm willing to put my plan right up next to his. That's what a debate would do, and face the questions of journalists. But he basically wants to tell the big lie, which is, I've got a plan, and don't worry about the details. You can't understand it anyway. So, but I would think if you had a plan and you really thought it would work, you'd want to shout from the highest mountain. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to debate him anytime, anywhere. He refuses to do that. I wanted 8 debates. He thought that was funny. Why wouldn't we have 8 debates, Michael Patrick? It's a big state. I've been covering the state. I just got back from a tour of the Upper Peninsula, and you talk about the changing colors. It's absolutely gorgeous up there. But you're right about that. But why not 8 debates? Why not one in the UP, one on the West Side, a couple in Detroit, one in Kalamazoo, one in Lansing? You could quickly get to 8 debates if you really wanted to reach people and wanted to go to the separate media markets and have give people a real opportunity to compare the candidates and kick the tires and see what we're about. He's not serious about that. He wants to have town hall meetings, which are love fests with people who are already voting for him. I attended one of them, so I can tell you those town hall meetings that he has. That's not just spontaneous people, and he doesn't face any real scrutiny because it's all people that are invited. It's invited guests only, people who are already supporting him. That's not facing the public, and so I think we're certainly by no means the election is by no means over. I've overcome long odds before. In the primary, I was counted out. I came back and won handedly. We're going to work right up until the polls close. The only poll that matters is the one on November 2nd. Opens at 7 a.m., closes at 8 p.m. We are closing in on him. The polls I've seen, the latest polls show his numbers dropping and mine gaining. So we're going to continue to go out and tell the truth and talk about the exciting possibilities in Michigan. We believe in investing in Michigan, in jobs in Michigan. The jobs I've created are here in Michigan, not in China, like the ones that Rick Snyder has created.
One of the Capitol News Services is reporting that Rick Snyder is not ruling out the possibility of applying a sales tax to services, something the governor hasn't been able to get through. But then there's a hedge that it wouldn't be for years to come and that sort of thing. Are you like-minded in him? Would you want a tax on services? He says it's a possibility.
I don't think that's the way to go. That really hits working people hard. Just like, I won't tax small business. I intend to grow business. I intend to lay out the red carpet instead of the red tape for business, which is what we've done in Lansing. We have to redefine Michigan. Michigan, across the state, across the country, and across the world right now, has a poor reputation. The Michigan I grew up in was #1, and we had a great reputation, and we've got to restore that. And I'm going to be announcing a major initiative later this week that will really put Michigan back on the map from an economic development standpoint. We have to change. Our challenge, Michael Patrick, is we have to change both the reality and the perception of Michigan. They both have to change. You can't do one or the other. You can't just launch an advertising campaign because there are real problems here. You've got to fix the problems and then have a major campaign around the country and around the globe to say, come to Michigan. We have to put down the welcome mat for business. We have to give them a reason to come to Michigan. Imagine, Michael Patrick, if you had a board of directors, if you had a company and you were the CEO and you were in another state or another country and you were going to go to your board and say, I propose that we go and open up an operation, that we open up a division in Michigan. Right now, what would the response be? So we have to turn that around so that there's a reason for you to open up a division in Michigan, and I think we can do it. I've been on the ground floor doing economic development, as you know, for some time here in Lansing and getting results. So I know what it's like. I haven't been off in some ivory tower, pontificating about it. I'm on the front lines like Brenda Lawrence, my running mate.
We are going to play every question and every answer from that debate on Monday morning, for anyone who might have missed it. So we look forward to that one single debate. Mr. Mayor Virg Bernero, the Democratic candidate for governor, hot-footing it around the state with his Made in Michigan tour.